type, but not knowing really what's on that inside. Because there's some pretty people that got some ugly soul. There's some handsome men that are demons.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna ask you about a few years ago. You caught a lot of slack from saying something about R. Kelly. I'm not gonna quote you, but can you talk about that? I'm sorry.
What did I say? I be forgetting, child.
I think you was more so. A lot of people kind of thought you was kind of defending not what he did, but like that people coming out against him. How do you feel about R. Kelly? I know you think you know him personally. How do you feel about then and now what's going on with R. Kelly?
I never met him a day in my life.
Okay.
All his albums, his songwriting is hands down probably some of the best we've ever heard in the world.
Facts.
But from people that I know that have been around him, like everybody knows that he has certain issues. And a lot of people knew that he was making a lot of money. So I think a lot of his issues were suppressed for the simple fact that, he was the breadwinner and he was throwing people a bag. I don't know personally what happened, but I know that there were people around. I'm just like, well, y'all was there too. So why nobody ain't say nothing? So when his ship is sinking, a lot of people was getting a raft and like, well, I don't want nothing to do with it. But to me, if you was around it and you accepted it and allowed it, I always felt people was in on it. So I just always felt, and what I think I said, which I don't remember, I was just like, well, if they're gonna call him out, there's so many more people that they need to call out. But look what's happening. Like, don't just go after him, go after all of them. If you're gonna pick out, don't just use one as the role, as the okay, you're the example. It's so much stuff that goes on in the industry behind the scenes. Like, whew, he's not the only one. And I don't condone anything that they said he did. The sad part is that I know for a fact he wasn't the only one over there with the child. That's sad.
Yeah. So we hear those stories and we hear those hard stories when it comes to particularly the youth, especially within the game, whether it be male, like, female, male, whatever.
That shit is a different type of demon. That's why I'm just like, whoo.
We hear stories kind of attributing that to the Illuminati and rituals. We all can kind of go deep down that rabbit hole and give reasonings as to why. I've had those conversations seem like somebody once a week. Is that kind of true within the industry? Is some real kind of other kind of spirits kind of handling that game? How real does that get?
Yeah, it's real. All I gotta say is that if you ain't got nobody praying for you or you don't pray for yourself, do not get into the industry. Because you know what I've learned? They say Satan don't have the red horns and the pitchfork like people think. He presents himself, honestly, if you look back before he was banished from heaven, Lucifer was the most beautiful angel of them all. Mm-hmm. So it always presents itself as beauty. I'll leave it there.
Let's talk about Broken Heart.
Yes.
Broken Heart out now. I've heard it a few times now, about 10 times. I love the song. It's called Broken Heart, but it's more about healing. And you were talking about writing it for women that are going through things. So get people a little synopsis on why you wrote the song, the process behind it, and what they can expect on it.
Well, Broken Heart was actually written by my manager and business partner, Wu. And he was literally the one that had to pull me out of the hell I was going through, because I know I was strong enough. I had my family, but for someone to say, no, like, you really have to get yourself together, and I want you to detox, and I want you to withdraw yourself from society, as well as I can see what you're doing to yourself, and I don't want you to die like that. So he was like, you got to get yourself together, and it's time that you start speaking your truth. So I was like, what should I do? Write a book? I was like, nah, now it's time to start singing about that stuff, because you can save a whole generation, and you could bring these young girls in, and you could save them from making the same mistakes that you did. I was like, well, this generation don't listen. I got an 18-year-old, and I'd be like, well, where you going? Like, it is what it is. He'd be like, well, did you listen? And I was like, no. It was just like, but you listened to someone. So with that, when we were constructing the whole Savage Heart album, we actually recorded Broken Heart on my birthday of 2020. So the song has been written, but I wanted it to be right. So I recorded on my birthday, because I felt like the only way that I could sing about my pain was once I was past it. I don't like those records for me trying to sing when I'm hurt because I never wanted my voice to project that. I always felt my voice was healing as prophesied to me as a child, and that I always had that voice that made you just feel like I can make it. Like I thought I had that kind of power and strength. So I never wanted a song to sound sad or like, just like anti. So when we did the record and like just the whole things, I was thinking that everything that I had went through was so bad and like, oh my God, woe is me. But when you think about what you've gone through and somebody's going off worse than you, no matter what financial level, what spiritual level, which status level they're on, we can look back at when Vanessa Bryant lost Kobe, how the whole world was shocked and everybody was hurt. But just imagine she got to live with that. She lost her husband, her daughter the same day. And it's just like, so I'm thinking I'm going through something. It's like, well, God, you literally have to go to God and be like, what did I do to deserve this?
Man.
When we saw Lauren lose Nipsey, he leaves the house and her expectations are for him to come back to her and their children. He leaves to go handle business. He never makes it back home. Well, God, what did she do to deserve that? Rest in peace to Lyric Young Chanel, young lady who just passed from, what was it? She had a brain cancer.
Right.
And I saw something and it just broke my heart. Well, her mom was like, I would do anything to have her comb my baby hairs again. Well, God, what did she do to like for her? Like, so the way you change the narrative is like, Mo, it's not just you walking around that's broken. It's not just you that was in an abusive marriage. It's not just you that lost it and got it back. There are people that are losing stuff daily. To lose a loved one is worse than losing money. To lose a child is worse than losing a car or anything materialistic. So when you get to the point where you just like, well, where can I go to fix this? Because hurt people, and I don't want to be that hurt and broken anymore. You have to find out that the greatest love that you'll ever find literally is within yourself. So no matter what you're going through, no matter what you're dealing with, you have to muster up enough strength to be like, God wouldn't bring you to it if he wasn't going to bring you through it. And I'm not trying to preach or be deep, but you literally have to get in your mind. The mind is very powerful. You really have to push through your pain. Like, half the stuff that happened to me, we don't even have the time to discuss. Like, I'll give people what I want them to know, but when I have to look at my phone and look at what I used to deal with, like, I had wanted to give up on life, suicidal thoughts, drug addiction, everything. I accepted that. But at the end of the day, I love myself enough to know that even though my heart is broken, it can be fixed.